Now, how does understanding light in others enhance interpersonal relationships? Recognizing that every person carries unique energy or light shifts the approach from judgment to understanding. When we see anger, joy, or sorrow as expressions of energy, we respond with empathy instead of reaction. This improves communication, reduces conflict, and fosters deeper connections. Spiritual awareness transforms relationships into reflections of mutual growth rather than arenas of friction. Vedic teachings emphasize seeing the soul or Atman behind the body and mind. Understanding the light in others is akin to perceiving the prana in all beings. This insight cultivates compassion, patience, and service, which are foundational to dharma and spiritual evolution. Now, Gurudev links electricity, sound, light, and heat as the same energy. How can this insight guide daily life? Recognizing the unity of energy encourages holistic awareness. If the same energy manifests diversely, every thought, word, and action becomes significant. This awareness promotes conscious living, speaking kindly, acting ethically, and nurturing inner balance. It fosters mindfulness, gratitude, and a sense of connectedness with all beings in nature, which is a practical application of spiritual wisdom. In Vedic terms, prana manifests in countless forms, but it's singular in its essence. Daily awareness of this unity fosters self discipline, harmonious action, and alignment with cosmic order. It teaches that no experience is trivial, all are expressions of universal energy. How does observing energy without interference reduces stress and negativity? When we observe emotions, events, and behaviors without absorbing them, our nervous system stays balanced. We no longer react impulsively, and negative patterns lose grip over the mind. Techniques like breath awareness and meditation cultivates this ability. Stress diminishes because energy is not misdirected into reaction. Instead, it is channeled into clarity and presence. This creates mental resilience and emotional stability. Vedic wisdom teaches non attachment or vairagya and equanimity. By witnessing life as expressions of prana, one avoids unnecessary entanglement in dualities of pleasure and pain. This natural detachment reduces karmic stress, purifies the mind, and strengthens spiritual alignment. Now, Gurudev says our mind captures events in sound, light, and impressions. How can meditation define this process? Meditation trains the mind to observe impressions without getting entangled. It strengthens awareness of the underlying energy in experiences rather than reacting to their surface form. This refinement allows one to process life events consciously, releasing negative samskaras and cultivating positive vibrations. Over time, this deepens clarity, intuition, and emotional resilience. Vedic practices like dhyana, mantra, and homa help regulate the mind's absorption of impressions. Conscious observation of prana allows one to store constructive energy, purify samskaras, and harmonize with universal laws, fostering inner peace and spiritual evolution. Now, how does the analogy of water illustrate witness consciousness? Water symbolizes calmness, presence, and receptivity. Gurudev's example of watching anger while keeping water nearby shows maintaining internal stillness amidst external turbulence. Witness consciousness is observing life without being pulled into reactions. It fosters clarity, emotional control, and a deeper understanding of energies around us. In Vedic thought, water represents purity and sattva, maintaining a detached yet conscious awareness. Like water allows one to experience life as a reflection of universal energy, aligning with dharma while remaining unaffected by transient disturbances. Now, Gurudev highlights that understanding energy is essential for human development. Can you explain this? Energy awareness is the cornerstone of conscious living. When we understand that thoughts, words, and actions are energy manifestations, we choose responses wisely. This awareness strengthens mind, body, and spirit, enhances relationships, reduces conflict, and fosters personal growth. It's a direct path to emotional intelligence and spiritual maturity. Vedic teachings reinforce that prana governs both the external world and the inner consciousness. Understanding and aligning with this energy ensures balanced action, ethical living, and spiritual advancement. Ignorance leads to misuse of energy, stress, and karmic consequences. Now, how does observing moods and behaviors improve decision making? By observing energy behind moods and behaviors, we gain clarity and objectivity. Decisions made from insight rather than reactive emotion are wiser, balanced, and sustainable. This awareness enhances professional, personal, and spiritual life, fostering discernment and foresight. Vedic wisdom equates this with understanding the influence of prana and karma on outcomes. Recognizing patterns of energy allows one to act in harmony with the cosmic order, increasing the effectiveness and ethical quality of decisions. Now, Gurudev often emphasizes stepping back to observe life. How is this connected to inner freedom? Stepping back cultivates detachment, awareness, and non reactivity. By observing rather than being consumed, we free the mind from habitual patterns and emotional turbulences. This leads to inner freedom, clarity, and alignment with a higher consciousness. It's the essence of meditation and mindfulness in daily life. In Vedic terms, it is Sakshi Bhava, the observer consciousness. Recognizing itself as a witness of life allows one to transcend temporary disturbances, act wisely, and progress spiritually, achieving harmony with the universal energy. Now, Gurudev describes observing someone's anger while keeping water nearby. What is the significance of this practice in understanding human emotions? Gurudev's example illustrates the power of witness consciousness. The water represents calmness, receptivity, and presence. By maintaining observation without interference, one does not get entangled in the other person's emotional turbulence. This practice trains the mind to remain neutral, seeing emotions as expressions of energy rather than threats or obstacles. Over time, such observation cultivates clarity, patience, and emotional resilience, enabling a person to respond wisely rather than react impulsively. In Vedic philosophy, maintaining such a detachment aligns with Sakshi Bhava, the principle of being a witness to all actions and energies. By observing without attachment or aversion, one perceives the flow of prana and karma, gaining insight into human behavior and remaining unshaken internally. Now, Gurudev compares moods to different colored lights in a series lamp, a serial lamp. How does this analogy help us in practical life? Each color represents an emotional state like anger, happiness, worry, or calmness. By observing these lights from a step behind, we detach from immediate reactions and understand their transient nature. This awareness helps manage stress, improve relationships, and cultivate empathy. It trains the mind to perceive patterns in behavior and energy rather than being consumed by them. Now, mm, Vedic teachings view moods and actions as expressions of prana influenced by karma. Seeing emotions as transient energy patterns allows one to act with discernment, preserving harmony and inner balance. Now, Gurudev emphasizes that Jyotish is the study of light. How does this relate to understanding life? Jagadav Jyotish and Gurudev's interpretation is not merely astrology but understanding the energy behind actions, intentions, and circumstances. Each person and event emits a light that reflects their karma and inner state. By perceiving these energies, we can act wisely, predict outcomes, and align our lives with a higher consciousness. In Vedic wisdom, Jyotish connects cosmic energy patterns with the human experience. Understanding light equates to understanding the influence of prana and karma, enabling one to live in harmony with the natural laws and dharma. Now, Gurudev links sound, light, and heat as different expressions of the same energy. How can this perspective be applied in daily life? Recognizing the unity of energy fosters mindfulness in thought, speech, and actions. Since every expression has energy consequences, being conscious of our internal and external energy helps reduce negativity, cultivate positive interactions, and promotes clarity and balance in daily life. Vedic philosophy teaches that all manifestations are expressions of prana. Awareness of this principle encourages ethical action, alignment with a universal order, and spiritual growth. Now, how does understanding the energy behind impressions help in managing stress? Jagadav, realizing that experiences and reactions are energy patterns, allows us to observe without being overwhelmed. Meditation, breath work, and mindfulness help in processing these impressions consciously, reducing emotional reactivity and stress. It shifts focus from external turbulence to inner stability. In Vedic thought, samskaras or stored impressions shape emotional and mental responses. Conscious observation and refinement of energy through spiritual practices prevent accumulation of negative impressions, fostering peace and equilibrium. Now, Gurudev mentions that moving from sound and light to the battery is spirituality. Could you elaborate on this? The battery symbolizes the source energy behind all manifestations. Spirituality is about transcending surface level impressions to experience this underlying energy. Practices like meditation, Sahat Samadhi meditation, and Sudarshan Kriya facilitate direct connection with this source, fostering clarity, presence, and inner freedom. Vedic philosophy describes this as shifting from vyakta or manifest to avyakta or unmanifest. Aligning with this source energy is the essence of spiritual evolution, allowing one to act in harmony with the cosmic law. How does fascination with the energy contribute to spiritual growth? Fascination here is attentive awareness without interference, observing energy patterns, moods, and behaviors with presence enhances perception, intuition, and mindfulness. Over time, it develops a witness consciousness, enabling a deeper understanding of life as an expression of energy. This aligns with Vedic practices of dhyana and sakshi bhava. Conscious observation of prana strengthens alignment with universal energy, cultivating insight, patience, and inner harmony. Now, Gurudev talks about stepping into another dimension when observing without judgment. What does this mean? This dimension represents a higher awareness, witnessing life from a plane of clarity rather than reactive emotion. Here, events are seen as energy expressions, allowing decisions from insight rather than impulse. It nurtures emotional resilience and spiritual growth. In Vedic terms, it is Sakshi consciousness by observing life's as manifestations without attachment. One aligns with Ratha or cosmic order and experiences harmony and balance. How can observing the light in others improve relationships? Jagadev, recognizing the energy behind behaviors allows empathy and reduces judgment. When anger, joy, or sorrow is perceived as energy, one responds wisely rather than reacting. This strengthens communication, trust, and emotional bonds. Vedic teachings encourage seeing the Atman behind the body mind. Understanding others as energy or prana cultivates compassion, patience, and effective service in personal and social interactions. Gurudev emphasizes stepping back to observe life. How does this lead to inner freedom? Stepping back develops a detachment and awareness, freeing the mind from habitual reactions. Witnessing life without getting consumed allows clarity, emotional balance, and alignment with higher consciousness, leading to profound inner freedom. This is Sakshi Bhava in practice, observing life as energy expressions. It transcends transient disturbances, strengthens discernment, and aligns actions with dharma and cosmic order. Jayadeva. Now, Gurudev said the mantra is tapping on the electricity, on the energy. What does this signify in spiritual terms? Jagadev, this statement reflects the essence of mantra Shakti. Just as electricity runs invisibly through a circuit, consciousness flows through creation as a subtle energy. When Gurudev says that mantra taps on electricity, he refers to how sacred sound vibrations tune the human system to the universal energy flow and feel. A mantra is not a random word, it's a sonic formula calibrated by the rishis. Reciting or even listening to it activates dormant frequencies within us, like switching on a bell by connecting it to power. You may not intellectually understand the mantra, yet its vibration silently transforms. This is the science of resonance, where the mantra acts as a medium between the finite and the infinite. Gurudev beautifully simplifies that understanding is a secondary, experience is a primary. Just as one feels warmth when near fire without analyzing its temperature, a seeker absorbs spiritual charge through mantra repetition. Now, Gurudev also mentioned that just listening to the mantra gives energy. How does mere listening produce such an effect? The power lies in Shabda Brahman, the divinity inherently in sound. Every syllable in Sanskrit carries a vibrational geometry that interacts with our energy centers. When we listen to a mantra chanted with awareness, it aligns the prana flow, reduces restlessness, and awakens inner vitality. Gurudev's teaching resonates with the ancient Anada Yoga, where sound itself becomes a bridge to silence. Even those we don't know the meaning feel the peace because the sound bypasses intellect and touches consciousness. For instance, when Om Namah Shivaya or Gayatri Mantra is heard in collective meditating setting, the nervous system attunes to cosmic rhythm. Science now validates that certain harmonic frequencies influence the brain's alpha and theta waves, enhancing calmness and energy. In the art of living courses, participants often report feeling light or blissful after chanting or guided meditation, even without translation. This demonstrates that mantra isn't about linguistic understanding, it's about energetic attunement. Now, Gurudev stated, do you know that 70% of the English language is in Sanskrit? How should we understand such a profound linguistic connection? Gurudev's insight highlights the deep Indo-European linguistic roots that connect Sanskrit and English. Though modern linguistics doesn't claim 70% direct derivation, the essence he conveys is that Sanskrit is a mother source for many world languages. Words like mother, brother, geometry, dental, navy, gamma all trace to Sanskrit counterparts, matra, bhratra, Jyamati. Danta, Nava, Gamanam. Gurudev emphasizes not the statistical figure but the spiritual unity behind sound. Sanskrit being a Deva Bhasha, the language of vibration contains primordial sound patterns embedded in nature. English, Latin, and Greek evolved through these shared sound roots. This recognition inspires global harmony. Language itself becomes a bridge of consciousness by understanding that even the words we speak daily hold Sanskrit lineage. We begin to perceive how ancient wisdom silently flows into modern civilization. Gurudev gently reminds us that culture is not divided, it is interconnected through vibration and awareness. Now, Gurudev compared words like Sutta or sun and beta, showing that English sun is closer to Sanskrit. What is the relevance of such linguistic parallels? Gurudev uses this comparison to show how sound vibrations preserve ancient wisdom across time. The word Suta in Sanskrit means offspring. In English, a son has a phonetic proximity indicating common linguistic ancestry. Hindi says beta diverges due to Prakrit revolution. Yet the Sanskrit root remains embedded. The deeper message Gurudev conveys is about recognizing unity beneath apparent diversity, just as languages share a root, all beings share the same consciousness. When we see these similarities, our perception expands from narrow identity to universality. Moreover, Sanskrit's phonetic purity ensures each sound has meaning, a reflection of cosmic order. Gurudev's illustration makes us see language not merely as communication but as vibration expressing consciousness. Recognizing the Sanskrit essence in world languages fosters reverence for ancient knowledge, encouraging modern seekers to rediscover their heritage scientifically and spiritually. Now, Gurudev spoke about Durhita and daughter, saying English is closer to Sanskrit than Hindi. How do such etymological examples carry spiritual depth? Now, when Gurudev points out that Durita or Sanskrit for daughter and daughter share phonetic closeness, he isn't merely giving a linguistic trivia, he is awakening awareness of continuity. Durita literally means one who should be protected from wrong, a reflection of compassion embedded in language. English retains the sound but not the etymological meaning, while Hindi says Bedi has a different root. Gurudev's insight invites us to look at languages as encoded culture. Sanskrit doesn't only describe, it vibrates with value systems. By showing how daughter echoes Durita, he brings to light the universality of dharma, care, affection, and protection. This awareness makes us see words as living vibrations, not inert labels. Spiritually, it reminds us that speech or vaka has power. Hence, the chanting Sanskrit mantras or even speaking mindfully aligns us with divine frequencies that transcend time and geography. Now, Gurudev mentioned that every part of the body has a Sanskrit name like Nasika for nose and Hridaya for heart. Why did ancient seers name them this way? Yes, Jai Gurudev, in Vedic understanding, naming is a sacred act. Each organ's Sanskrit name arises from its function and vibration. For instance, Hridaya comes from Hridi, the center, and Aya, the movement, meaning the place from which energy moves. Nasika, the nose, comes from Nasa, to breathe or flow. Thus, each word encodes both physical and energetic attributes. Gurudev's remark draws attention to this divine engineering in languages. Sanskrit words resonate with the function of what they describe, hence chanting them balances the corresponding area in the body. This is why Nyasa practices in Vedic rituals involve reciting specific mantras while touching each body part to harmonize energy. Gurudev's teaching helps modern seekers understand that Sanskrit isn't just ancient vocabulary, it is a vibrational anatomy. Recognizing these connections revives the reverence for both our body and the language that first described it. Now, Gurudev said that Danta means dental. How does this demonstrate Sanskrit's continuity in modern science and terminology? Danta meaning tooth shows how scientific vocabulary evolved from Sanskrit roots. Words like dental, dentist, and dentist Dentition in Latin and English stem from the same origin. Gurudev's point underscores that Sanskrit was not limited to spirituality. It laid the foundation for medicine, mathematics, astronomy, and linguistics. Ayurveda, Jyotish, and Vastu are all based on this precise phonetic science. Recognizing such connections bridges modern science and ancient wisdom. When scientists or doctors today use dental, they unknowingly echo Danta. Gurudev's laughter-filled insight reveals the unity of knowledge systems. There is no east or west, only expressions of the same cosmic intelligence. By rediscovering Sanskrit roots, humanity can integrate rational inquiry with intuitive wisdom, leading to holistic progress. Now, Gurudev gave the example of Gama in Sanskrit meaning go and compared it to with Chao in Hindi and go in English. What is the essence of this observation? Gurudev uses Gama and Go to illustrate the natural flow of sound evolution and consciousness. Gama in Sanskrit means to move and to go. English retains the same phonetic vibration as go, whereas Hindi's Jao has shifted. Gurudev's playful comparison reminds us how sound is more enduring than script. The Sanskrit vibration Ga expresses motion, hence Gati or movement, and Gamanam or journey or Gati Shakti or energy of motion. When he asks which is closer, he leads listeners to intuit the original resonance of words rather than just linguistic lineage. This observation reflects a deeper message. Human communication across languages and ages is sustained by shared vibration. Recognizing this dissolves barriers between cultures, revealing that the universe communicates through rhythm and sound. Now, Gurudev said the names of the months in the calendar are also rooted in Sanskrit. Would you elaborate on this fascinating link? Gurudev points to the linguistic origins of September, October, November, December, which correspond to Saptam, Ashtam, Navam, and Dasham in Sanskrit, meaning 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Originally, the Roman calendar began in March, aligning perfectly with these Sanskrit derived number names. His observation suggests that ancient knowledge systems were interconnected across continents. Sanskrit's numerical system, Shunya or 0 and Dasham or 10, influenced global mathematics, while its terminology seeped into Western chronology. When Gurudev says December, Dash Ambar, 10th sky, he reveals that timekeeping too has sacred roots. Ambar means sky or cycle, so Dashambar poetically means the 10th sky. This interpretation transforms a simple calendar into a cosmic rhythm, showing how even modern months echo the Vedic understanding of cyclical time. Now, Gurudev concluded by saying NASA scientists found Sanskrit as the most suitable language to communicate with aliens and computers. What is the reason behind this? Jaydev, NASA's researchers and computational linguistics have indeed studied Sanskrit for its precision and logic. Gurudev highlights this to show that Sanskrit's structure mirrors the perfection of nature itself. Each word follows exact grammar or vyakarana and phonetic laws or siksha. There is no ambiguity. Every sound and meaning align mathematically. For artificial intelligence or extraterrestrial communication, a language that is consistent, self-referential, and unambiguous is ideal, and Sanskrit fits that profile. Gurudev's deeper insight is that consciousness expresses itself more clearly when vibration is pure. Sanskrit, therefore, is not merely a human invention, but a reflection of cosmic intelligence. He connects spiritual truth with scientific validation. What rishis experience as mantra shakti, scientists now explore as linguistic perfection. The Sanskrit stands as both ancient and futuristic, a bridge between human and cosmic communication. Now, Gurudev says we don't need to intellectually understand the mantra to benefit from it. How does this align with traditional Vedic wisdom? In Vedic tradition, mantra is considered Shakti or pure energy rather than a mere string of words. The rishis knew that the sound vibration alone has a transformative effect on consciousness independent of comprehension. Gurudev's teaching resonates with Nada Yoga, which emphasizes that the resonance of sound penetrates the subtle energy body, activating chakras and calming the mind, just as tuning fork vibrates a nearby object without touching it. Listening to a mantra transmits energy directly into our system. Modern neuroscience validates this to an extent. Rhythmic sounds or chants stimulate the brain's limbic system, enhancing calmness and emotional regulation. Gurudev bridges the ancient experiential wisdom and contemporary understanding by emphasizing listening as a form of spiritual practice. Intellectual analysis can sometimes inhibit absorption, whereas surrendering to sound allows natural attunement with the cosmic energy. In essence, The mantra becomes a conduit between the finite and the infinite, inviting the seeker to experience divinity without mental effort. This principle underpins the Art of Living's approach to chanting and guided meditations, emphasizing experiential realization over mere intellectual knowledge. Now, Gurudev mentions that consciousness reverberates with the mantras. How can we understand this scientifically and spiritually?